Now I will create an adjustment layer. So I go to my adjustments panel and I will choose the photo filter adjustment layer. I will choose color and click on this swatch, and I would like to use a purple color, something like this. I accept it and I increase the density. But I want to make the background a bit darker, so I again change the gradient overlay on the background. I reduce the opacity of the overlay to get something like this. And I would like to also add another light behind her, and for that light I will create a new layer, and I will use my elliptical marquee tool and make an elliptical selection, something like this, and fill it with white. Command the Control Backspace from the keyboard. Then I deselect my selection with the deselect option, Control Command D with the keyboard shortcut, and then I will use a blur on this white background element. So I go to Filter and choose Blur, Gaussian Blur, and blur out this in the background, something like this, and then reduce the opacity of this light. This adds a nice shiny glow behind her and gives more contrast between her hair and the background. I also want to reduce the brightness of the table, so I just simply select that layer and reduce the opacity. I can name these layers if I want, and it's always better to name your layers. So I name this background. This is the floral motif in the background. This is the table. The photo filter, I don't need to name it because it's automatically named. And this is the glow behind her. These are the background elements, and I can even group them together if I want. I will leave them now like this. And now I will soften the skin on the portrait, so I zoom closer. And as you can see, we have very strong highlights on the face thanks to the flash, which was turned directly to her face. So I would like to soften the skin, but also get rid of some of the noise in the image, in the shadow areas, and also the strong highlights. The tool what I'm going to use is the Mixer Brush tool, which is a new tool in CS5 and one of my favorite new additions to Photoshop. So I select Mixer Brush tool, and I make the brush size a bit smaller, and I saved my settings in the tool presets. For this tool I have a soften skin setting. As you can see, I just simply use a soft edge brush, so with 0 hardness, and I use this preset called Very Wet with the Mixer Brush tool. If you want to use your Mixer Brush tool non-destructively on a separate layer, then you need to check Sample All Layers option. I will check this now, and I create a new layer and call that layer Soft Skin Layer. So this is on top of my original image, and I start drawing with my Mixer Brush tool. As you can see, I start moving my brush right and left with small movements, and I simply blend pixels together, and I'm careful not to lose quality and sharpness of the image. So I'm only trying to get rid of noise in the image and little imperfections on the skin. This is a great way that you can apply to your photographs, and also you can apply to digital paintings where you need to render a very soft skin on the face or on any part of the body. And this is something that was very difficult to do without the Mixer Brush tool. The only tool which was similar to this was the smudge tool, but the mixer brush tool is much better. It does a much better job. So we can check now the before and after on this part of the face. So I turn off the new layer, the soft skin layer, and we can see the original layer below. So this is before and this is after. I just need to finish this here on the left. As you can see, I just make small brush strokes, small movements. And for example, here on the nose, I will get rid of this strong highlight by dragging over skin tones onto that part. I also get rid of some of these highlights here, just drawing over those parts from the neighboring areas, like this. Drawing with the mixer brush tool over a portrait is like making the makeup, adding the makeup onto the face. So I also got rid of those highlights, and it's also a great tool to get rid of noise, where you see noise, mainly in the shadow areas. Okay, so now we can check before and after. I think I finished on the face, but I can spend time also on the hand and drawing over these parts where I see parts that I don't want to see in my final image. You can make a painting effect if you want, so you can get to a point with the mixer brush tool which is more like a painting and not a photograph. But I don't want to get to that point. Just simply soften the skin on the hand as well, because this is an important part of the image. And now I will select the mask, and I see a little problem here on the edge. So I will use my brush and the black color and just simply draw over this part. I can spend time more on the skin, on the arm and here on the right, but I don't want to do the whole thing now, because the technique is the same, and you see it's not that difficult to do. You just need to spend time on it, but it's really worth spending time. So before and after, again, you can see the mixer brush tool is great for this. Now I would like to make a better selection, so I first will use the refine edge on the mask, which is called refine mask. So I will go to my masks panel and I will choose mask edge. Be careful that you need to select your mask first to be able to use this option. So I will click on mask edge now, and I will check before and after here. First I will use smart radius and I will increase radius, and then I will move shift edge to the left, and also I will choose decontaminate colors with 65%, for example.